Two people I really like listening to, primarily actually Clif, George Ur, they're friends. Clif is the Webbot fellow. He is somewhere up in the West Coast or whatever, I'm not sure where. But here, listen to this. Clif is going to talk about the fifth order house, an interesting idea that he is pretty convinced is the progression of our consciousness, of our being as, expanding or whatever. Have a listen to this, and then I'll make a quick comment.
Start with an observation. Over the years, I've noticed that there are third and fourth order beings all around us on this planet, and yet we are not fourth order beings or third order beings, we're fifth order. And by that I mean a third order being might be an amoeba, where all amoebas on the planet are essentially the amoeba that we all started with. A fourth order being might be basically chickens. All chickens are fundamentally alike, all cockroaches are fundamentally alike, all octopi, and so on. It's only when you get up to a certain level of organization in the body that you start getting individual differentiation. And that's what we mean by fifth order. So a fourth order being are like insects, where essentially they're all stamped from the same mold. The amount of variance is very small. And for instance, dogs used to be this way. They were basically this little ubiquitous 30-pound mongrel dog that was all over the whole planet until humans got in there and started mucking about with the DNA. And now we have the plethora of basically subspecies of dogs that we've got. Those are all examples of fifth order thinking, where we get individual differentiation. So fourth order thinking would be government en masse, broadcast media, mass mailings, all of that kind of thing, where it's done in order to gain an order of efficiency in the handling of the source material. And that's really what it is all about, is that they can handle a lot of source material by very few hands with this order of thinking and efficiency, and what we're doing.
Okay, he's explaining a kind of transitional aspect to the nature of existence that we come through primary levels and we work through. And this is something, artistically speaking, Kandinsky addressed in the spiritual. He wrote a book called On the Spiritual in Art, I think it was, yes. And he was discussing this kind of transitional aspect. He was primarily referring to people, not sort of minerals to animals, primary sort of life forms and all this kind of thing. But Clif is talking about the fact that we have a natural kind of progression happening here through into a higher state of what I would say consciousness, a higher state of consciousness. Let's listen a little bit more.
I guess we're reversing that. Our order of thinking is fifth order, where we want to have the most possible, or we want to create an environment where the amount of complexity that is available can multiply should it decide it wants to. So,
all right, here we go. Now I'm going again. I really like Cliffi, but now here's where I separate myself. The idea is I am listening to things, people I like, people I don't like, and he's analyzing. This guy is brilliant. I love what he's talking about. Now, but he's focusing on something. It's kind of like the nuts and bolts and meat and potatoes of existence. And that is, he refers to the fifth order house, that higher level of consciousness, as a recognition of complexity, individuation. People are different from each other. The idea. Now, what he does not kind of embrace, maybe he does personally, he has a personal life, maybe he does embrace it, but this is where I have, I'm listening to this, and we'll listen a little bit more, but here's where I want to add something to this really, really smart person's way of seeing the world, and that is that the differentiation, individuation, complexity that he talks about when we progress into that next level of existence is actually not primarily the complexity or the, I guess, what makes somebody different from somebody else by being complex, the nature of complexity. No. Here's how it works. It's how you feel your heart, how you actually begin to open your heart to the possibility of you not being the only creature on the planet. It's not all me, 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 me. It's like that feeling of you're part of something and you love being part of something. This is really the fifth order of house, is that expression, that sensation, that absolute passion, that love of being part of something else. It's kind of like a paradox here, because Cliff is talking about the fact that everything is the same. Well, I want to be part of that everything that is the same, but still be me. So the appreciation, the desire of adding, contributing, being part of something, and playing my role, whatever small role that might be, and truly loving that, opening one's heart, not having any kind of animosity, feelings that really diminish us from that progression into what he calls the fifth order house. Love that word, love that idea. You can call it anything you want, but it really is the progression, the awareness, the desire to open ourselves in a way that allows other things to come in and fill us and fulfill us. And if anything, I believe Cliff High is an extraordinary individual on the planet, but the thing that I want to really impress, and when I work as well, is to be able to open ourselves to that heart core love center, feeling the other. It's not about us, it's the other. Let's see if he has anything else to say.
So basically, we're in the business of complexification and supporting and preserving that. Governments, unfortunately, are not. So I, for one, don't intend to allow myself to be limited by the fourth order thinking of the government in how we run the fifth order house. We will.
Okay, he's getting a little caught up with, yeah, of course, government, yeah, sure, government, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Very selfish kind of organization, basically promoting itself, making sure it says it is interested in the well-being of the whole and all that. But what he's talking about is actually identifying the core problem, and that is people become very selfish, and when you become political, politics generally tends to be a very selfish kind of activity. I think, he's identified that, but the solution, the resolution, the transition, the ability of ourselves becoming, it's not complexity, it's actually that. Anything else?
Pay taxes and be legal as long as any of that is meaningful, which I don't suspect is going to be that much longer. Mm-hmm. But we won't allow their thinking to decide who we give money to or how much of it we give away. The fact that the governments are limited in their thinking that 50% is their problem, not ours.
Okay, George Orr comes in and whatever. So this is like, again, I say, I listen, I enjoy, I take in, and I try to, I keep harping on this, I think. It's like, that's why I make paintings. It's, I want to harp on this. I want to give that. A while back, I did a video called Deep Tissue Pleasure. And ironically, this comes out of what I believe is, in order to stay healthy, we have to detoxify. We need to be able to have our tissue on a primary level, like our cells. They need to be clear, clean, all that sort of stuff. If we load it up, both physically, primarily, the physical thing I'm talking about, but also emotionally, we need to detoxify ourselves. And how did I get onto that? That's like, one thing leads into another. It's like a painting. You make a painting and you put on something, and the next thing you know is something else comes out of that. So you have to adjust. You move over a few. No, don't leave the screen. Come back in the screen. Yeah. And continue with the flow. Continue with the flow. So yeah, cliff high, love that. Love this stuff. Just fantastic. But we need to add that element. It's not complexity. Yes, complexity obviously, but the true transition into that fifth order house that he's talking about is our heart center and the kindness, caring that we feel that emanates out of us.